The ground trembled violently as buildings cracked, alarms blared, and terrified screams filled the streets. Amid the chaos, Ethan Carter, a struggling single dad, shielded his 7-year-old daughter Lily under a shattered cafe table, praying for the shaking to stop. He had been on his way to the most important job interview of his life, a chance to finally secure stability for his little girl, but fate had other plans. When the earth finally went silent, dust and fear hung in the air. Ethan's phone buzzed with desperate messages. His interview had been postponed, the office building damaged. But before he could process relief, a faint cry pierced through the rubble near the collapsed bookstore across the street. "Help! Somebody, please!" Ethan turned toward the voice, heart pounding. People were running in every direction, terrified of aftershocks. No one stopped. But Ethan couldn't ignore that desperate sound. He looked at Lily, trembling in his arms. "Stay right here, sweetheart. Daddy will be back," he promised. He sprinted toward the ruins, pushing away fallen debris with bleeding hands. Beneath a cracked beam, he found a woman unconscious, trapped from the waist down. Dust covered her face, but he could see her faintly breathing. "Hang in there!" Ethan shouted, trying to lift the beam. It wouldn't budge. He screamed for help, but no one came. So he used everything he had, leverage from a broken sign, the strength of pure will, and finally, after minutes that felt like hours, freed her leg and carried her out into the light. Her pulse was weak, but steady. Ethan laid her on the sidewalk, tore his own shirt to bandage her bleeding forehead, and whispered, "You're safe now. You'll be okay." He didn't know it then, but saving that stranger would change everything. Hours passed. The city was in chaos, sirens, dust, and broken hearts everywhere. Ethan couldn't go back to the interview even when the company texted about rescheduling. He spent the day helping the injured, comforting Lily, and keeping hope alive. That night, as he sat outside the emergency shelter, Lily asleep in his arms, exhaustion hit him hard. He had nothing left, no job, no money, no home. Just the same dream that somehow tomorrow would be better. The woman he saved was taken away by paramedics earlier. He didn't even know her name. Still, he prayed for her. "Please, God, let her live," he whispered into the cold night. The next morning, as Ethan tried to calm Lily, who missed her bed and her toys, a black car pulled up in front of the shelter. 2 men in suits stepped out. "Are you Ethan Carter?" one asked. Ethan hesitated, afraid something was wrong. Then the rear door opened, and the woman he'd saved stepped out, her leg in a brace, but alive and radiant. Her eyes glistened as she walked toward him. You saved me," she said softly. "I've been looking for you." Ben adored her. He'd sit beside her, covered in paint, saying, "Miss Lily, when I grow up, I'll make enough money so you never have to sell your art again." For the first time in years, Lily laughed without pain. But the journey wasn't easy. Her health began to worsen before the final round of treatment. Some days she couldn't even lift her brush. Ethan stayed by her side through it all, driving her to appointments, making sure she ate, and sometimes just sitting in silence as she sketched with trembling hands. When she wanted to give up, Ethan would look her in the eye and say, "You paint hope, Lily. Don't stop living what you paint." And she didn't. Months later, after her last chemo session, the doctors gave her the news: her cancer was in remission. She was weak, but alive. Alive because someone had cared enough to do the unthinkable. She threw herself into her art, creating a special painting, a man holding a child's hand, walking toward a sunrise. She titled it "The Stranger Who Gave Me Tomorrow." On the day of her first art exhibition, she stood beside that painting as tears filled her eyes. The crowd applauded as Ethan and Ben walked in, both dressed neatly. "This is your work?" a gallery owner asked. Lily smiled proudly. "It's more than my work. It's my story." Because sometimes, one act of kindness can save not just a life, but a soul. Ethan walked up, his eyes glistening. "I didn't just help you, Lily. You helped me remember what hope feels like." Years later, Lily became a successful painter, her art spreading messages of love and resilience around the world. She continued to fund treatment for young cancer patients, each donation signed anonymously, from a girl who was once helped by a stranger. And every weekend, she still visited Ethan and Ben, her little found family who reminded her that the world, despite its pain, still had good people.